One of the homes was engulfed in flames. It prompted the response of multiple fire vehicles. There was a search of the house. Because they had emptied the residence, it was a mystery as to why one of their own had sustained critical injuries at the scene of the incident. It was necessary to conduct an investigation. Due to the fact that the case garnered notice from the media, the Chicago Fire Department was required to initiate an inquiry. It was necessary for them to visit Firehouse 51. They were left with no other option, and it was inevitable that things would get messy. Because Bowden did not want the wrong people to be blamed for what had occurred, the Firehouse was concerned that someone would be held responsible for what had occurred. There was a drop of 51. The leadership was informed about the probe by him. Bowden attempted to argue that it would be equitable. As a result, he did not want anyone to be concerned that they might be blamed for something that they had not done. In a normal circumstance, he would not have been able to keep that pledge. Yet, during the course of the investigation he was in charge, Bowden communicated with each and every person. He had heard that Cruz was exhausted on that particular day. Because he was still a toddler, his youngest son was going through the time where he did not want to sleep by himself. He ensured that everyone was caught up. On the day of that call, Cruz suffered from exhaustion. Indeed, Severide was aware of it. As a result of his lack of belief that it was a thing, he brought Cruz along with him. All of the events that took place on that day were admitted by Severide. He went so far as to suggest that his younger brother was actually asking for additional shifts. In order to gain experience, Damon desired to. His conversation with Herman was successful, and Severide agreed to make a phone call on his behalf. In addition to Severide, there were other people discussed. Additionally, Bowden had a conversation with Kid. Kid reported that she was successful in resurrecting her team. Carver has returned from his time spent in rehabilitation. He had reached a state of sobriety. His desire was to resume his previous job. In addition, he was interested in finding out whether there was anything that he could do for Chief Pascal. Pascal had lately encountered the loss of his wife, but he was unwilling to discuss the matter. Pascal informed the firefighters that the most beneficial thing they could do for him was to perform their duties in an appropriate manner. When it came to messes, he wanted none more. No more defeats were what he desired. Pascal, when questioned about that evening, stated that everything went to bad in a relatively short amount of time. When the firefighters got at the scene, they were informed by the neighbors that the Marshall family was among the residents of the house. Both of the parents were present, 2 children. The reason that the neighbors had not seen them leave the house was because they were unable to escape, since they were imprisoned inside. In an effort to pleading for assistance, the adolescent son opened a window in his bedroom. A second story was where the boy was located. He did not wait for assistance to provide itself. After leaping out of the window, he landed heavily on top of a vehicle. The jumper informed the firefighters that the family had not been able to escape the predicament. Additionally, the young man stated that his younger sibling was still present inside. His sibling was a young child. The infant was still snoozing in the stroller. It was impossible for a baby to escape on his own, so he pleaded with Kid to locate him, instead of trying to escape on his own. The fact that Kid stopped to listen to a distressed youngster was not something that Pascal cared about. He reminded her that he had given her instructions, and that she was legally obligated to carry them out. In the evening, Pascal was ranting at a great number of individuals. It was a complete and utter chaos. The neighbors were all gathered outside, seeing the unfolding events. People continued to drive over the hoses that were connected to the water supply because there was no traffic control in place. Additionally, Herman was unable to request additional water since the noise level outside was so high that Doherty was unable to hear him request it. In the company of his squad, Severide entered the house. He was aware of the precise instant when everything began to go awry. The event took place, according to him, when they arrived on the second level of the residence. Cruz had a difficult time breathing. It was necessary for Severide to get him out of the building. The regulator for Cruz had become frozen over. He requested a new one and expressed his desire to return, but Pascal refused to allow him to do so. He instructed Cruz to go to the emergency medical technicians for evaluation. Severide returned to the room. In doing so, he was not entirely alone. Carver was the one who discovered the lost infant boy. Kid received him from him as a gift. He was carried to the ambulance by Kid, who was their driver. The infant was having difficulty breathing the entire time. Perhaps Kid's decision to leave her squad was due to the fact that he had made a promise to his older brother that he would come and rescue him.